Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Dragons Lair podcast, your home all things Dragons RFC and rugby in the region. I'm Jamie, and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas. How are we, sir?
I'm very well, Jamie, very well.
Good stuff. You can find us in all the usual places: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on our social media channels. We're on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter, of course. And I want to give a shout out to Dragons legend Brock Harris for joining me last weekend for an exclusive bonus podcast. I'm so sorry you couldn't join us, Gav. I feel really bad about it, but what a bloke. He's such a nice guy, Gav. You would have loved it. He was such a lovely bloke.
The pod was great, and yeah, I was stuck on a train from Dover at the time, so
yeah.
I was slightly irritated, but it's good that we've got Brock on the pod.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and if you haven't listened to it, please do check it out. We spoke about his upbringing in South Africa, how he got into the game, coming to the Dragons, his time there. My favourite part was him describing Lynn Jones as a bit weird. I found that quite funny. I don't know, that just tickled me. Yeah, and obviously his time at the Stormers, 39 years old, still going strong. Talking about the differences between scrummaging on the loose and the tight, which I found really interesting. So, just a top man, lovely guy. So shout out to Brock. Thank you very much for joining me. So let's get straight into the news, Gav. Now, it feels like a long time since we recorded last together.
Yeah.
And since then, there has been a lot of news. So if you remember the last pod we recorded, shortly after we finished, Dragons announced the signing of Shane Lewis-Hughes, who, funny enough, I said would be a very good signing for the Dragons on this very podcast. What a coincidence. Who would have thought of it? So, Wales forward Shane Lewis-Hughes will move from Cardiff to join the Dragons ahead of next season. Lewis-Hughes can play as a flanker or a lock, and he came through Cardiff's academy and has played 69 games for the region. I watched Cardiff Lions on the weekend, and he's back from injury now, and he came off the bench in the 60th minute, so it's really good to see him back. So what do you think of that one then, Gav? Shane Lewis-Hughes, do you think that's a good pickup for the Dragons?
Yeah, without being critical of current players, he's an upgrade on Sean Lonsdale, isn't he? He's a better player than Sean Lonsdale, and he'll inhabit that similar place in the squad, that kind of hybrid second row, back row forward. But it'd be interesting what we're going to do with our second row and back row now. If we have everyone together, they are going to be
good.
fairly, big-ish names that aren't going to be in the side. What's Harry Keddy's place in the squad now? What's Matthew Screech's place in the squad?
But isn't that what we want, though, Gav? Don't we want
course.
competition for places? Because competition breeds performance, doesn't it? I want people to have to work hard and fight for their place. If you know you're going to get picked every week, I guess you sort of lack that desire in competition. Whereas if you've got depth in every position, which you need to have to be, competitive in URC, then I think it's a good thing. You've got depth in every position. So it's a welcome headache for Doug Flanagan, isn't it?
Oh, indeed. I don't know if you saw Sam Larner's post. It was before the Shane Lewis-Hughes announcement. And he was basically saying that people had said to me that if everyone was there, Dragons had a decent 15. He said, but now they're getting a decent 23 if everyone's available.
Absolutely. Friend of the pod, Sam Larner, of course.
Indeed.
Yeah. And he knows his onions, doesn't he? So, and he's absolutely right, of course. Yeah. So, very pleased about that one. He's had bit of bad luck with injury, I think it's fair to say. Shane Lewis-Hughes, maybe he, in 2020, that sort of COVID era, he was really, really good, wasn't he? And that's what led to him getting picked by Pivac for Wales. I've always been a fan of Shane Lewis-Hughes for a long time.
He was, of the Pivac selections, he was probably the best one.
Yes.
I thought there was those 2 games he played, and he looked very good in that.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign. And I have to say, I was surprised when I found out that he was leaving Cardiff. I think he would have been part of Cardiff's plans. I saw a few salty comments from Cardiff fans, but I think he definitely would have been part of Jockey's plans going forward, if he had stayed. He's a very versatile player. He's a Welsh international, and I think he's quality, and I'm really pleased we picked him up. And the good news is we've picked him up on, well, according to the Argus, on relatively meagre terms. So we're not paying over the odds. So if it doesn't work out, for example, if he picks up a lot of injuries, that's fine because we're not paying over the odds for him.
No.
But obviously, if it does work out, then we've got a Welsh international quite cheap. So it's a win-win situation as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely, and there were lots of people saying, "Oh, why are we just getting foreign players?" Well, we've recruited Welsh now, so
I've got no time for those people to keep
no,
banging on
neither have
about
I.
foreign players. So that's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. It boils my piss. But yes, very pleased with that signing. So Shane Lewis-Hughes will be joining the Dragons in the summer. And then another signing that was announced recently. So the Dragons are bringing Ollie Burrows back home to Wales. The 21-year-old from Neath, he's agreed to join the Dragons from Exeter Chiefs. The former Wales under-20s international moved to Sandy Park in 2020 and he made a senior debut for the Chiefs in the Premiership Cup against Bristol Bears back in 2021. And this season, Burrows has spent it on loan down at Cornish Pirates. So Dave Flanagan had this to say about him. Ollie is a big man and has a lot of potential. It's great that we can bring someone like him back home to Wales. He is an ambitious player who will look to drive competition in the front row. It's that big man theme again, Gav, isn't it? Have you noticed the continuing theme for all our signings? They are all big men.
It's interesting because I'd say hooker is probably somewhere we have strength in depth already as well.
Yes.
You know, because Elliott clearly first cab off the rank. James Benjamin has performed well and has some flexibility and versatility. The young
Brody
lad
Coughlin.
Yeah, I was going to say young lad Coughlin. You know, he looks a good player and will become better. Yeah, and Bradley Roberts as well. But I think Bradley Roberts is probably done for now.
Yes, I was about to say, I would say that this signing points Bradley towards the exit door. And I know a lot of supporters are disappointed about that. And look, I love Bradley, as you know. I've spoke very highly of him on this podcast. I speak highly of him rap. I've always been a big fan. You know, I love him to bits. But actually, I can see why we're moving him on as well. And let's not forget, he hasn't played a game for the Dragons since January.
No.
And I read in the Argus that he's seen a specialist regarding his back, which that doesn't sound good at all. You know, so I think it's the right time to move him on. And you know, he's a big guy, isn't he, this Ollie Burrows? And we want big men. And as much as I love Bradley, you know, his size is a problem, isn't it? You know, you do lose that power in the scrum, and we do need a bit more grunt up front. And yeah, he should have had more opportunities for Wales. But if we're being brutally honest, did he really grasp those opportunities when he was selected with Wales? I don't think he did.
Yeah, he was always what he was, which was about the fourth or fifth best hooker in Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're the fourth or fifth best hooker in a position where there's only one in the team or one in the squad, then you're going to have to, when you get those opportunities, you have to take them. And he never did in the way that Elliott has, that Ryan Elias has.
Yeah.
But he's better than the other options. But
yeah. No, I agree. And, you know, he had a very good game against France in the 2023 Six Nations. He scored a try as well, didn't he? If I remember correctly. But since then, Warren Gatland hasn't taken a second look at him. No. He's just not in his plan. So maybe it's best for Bradley to move on. It's a shame. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Bradley, but I'm not, you know, too disappointed that he's leaving. I am disappointed, but I'm not like gutted or anything like that. No. You know, I can see why the club has made this move, even if it won't be popular with some of our supporters. I think now is the right time. So yes, that was that signing. So Ollie Burrows. Yeah, exciting young signing, I think, isn't it? And like I said, it breeds competition at hooker, and we've got some good depth there now.
And seeing kind of Neath is an absolute breeding ground for absolutely psychopathic hookers. So I'm hoping he comes from the Kevin Phillips school of. You're probably a bit young to remember Kevin Phillips. He was an absolute lunatic.
Yeah. James, our rap co-host, is a big fan of Ollie Burrows. He said that's a really good signing. He knows him. So yeah. So
was he at Scarlets as a kid?
No, he's Ospreys.
He was Ospreys, which would make sense being from Neath.
Yeah, he came through the Ospreys Academy.
But he went to the pathway, the uni pathway at Exeter, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he got picked up. Yeah.
Yeah. The same as
So,
Chris Shunzer and
mhm,
David Jenkins, yeah.
yeah, that's right. So yeah, those are the signing news then. Well, just one more update then before we move on. So Dave Flanagan has said that we've got a little bit of business left to do and a little bit in the backroom staff. And then ideally, we would like another 10/15 because we are light there. No mention of props. Dyer's targeting a fly half who can play fullback. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that we're going to keep our tight head, our hip. I think he'll stay for another year. And I do think we'll keep Leon Brown as well, but on reduced terms. What would you think of that if that happened? If we didn't bring any props, but we kept our hit for another year and then we retain Leon Brown? Because that's what it looks like is going to happen. That's my prediction.
That's fine, I would imagine. And maybe the fact that we've added bulk elsewhere in the pack will help. Yeah. When Jones is there, it'd be nice to see us try and tempt him over the locker and down to Newport, but I can't see it happening.
No, a lot of people have sort of compared it to like, oh, if we sign, it would be like Rob Evans, but I don't agree because first of all, Wyn Jones is a much better player than Rob Evans ever was. This guy is a British Lion. 3 years ago, mind, he was started against the Springboks. Do you know what I mean? So he's got a lot of quality, but for some reason, I think he's fallen out with Dwayne Peel.
He's been injured as
picked.
well, hasn't he?
He has, but I was reading an interview he did with Rugby Pass. He said he feels fit than ever now, and he's fresh, he's ready to go, but he's not really getting game time. I would take a punt, but I don't think the Dragons will. I think they'll stick with what they got. So they probably stick with, obviously, Roger Jones, who I think's had a very good season, Martinez, who's been up and down. And then we got Josh Reynolds, we got Dylan Keller-Griffiths as well. So that's why I think they'll stick with. Yeah. But we'll wait and see. Maybe we will pick up a prop later on because we picked up Martinez in pre-season, didn't we? Last year we picked him up quite late. So if there's room in the budget, maybe we will pick up a prop. But that would be my guess, that we retain our hip and we give Leon a new deal, which might be a little bit divisive amongst some of our supporters on that. But it remains to be seen. Right, in other news, let's move on to backroom staff. Oh, I love this appointment. Dragons have announced a defence coach at last, and it's none other than former All Black and Ospreys legend, Filo Tiatia. Remember him, Gav?
I do indeed.
Yeah, so the former All Black and Ospreys legend has been head coach at Toyota Verblitz and the Sunwolves in Japan, and he spent time as forwards coach and assistant coach with the Japan national side. Tiatia has also worked in Super Rugby as forwards coach for Monaco Pacifica, and he had a spell as forwards coach with Auckland Rugby. So he's coming back to us with a wealth of coaching experience and knowledge. Very impressive CV, actually, isn't it? So are you happy with this appointment, Gav? What do you think of this one? I think it's great.
An experienced coach, has coached at the highest levels, has got a breadth of coaching experience. He's not been just coaching in the Welsh Premiership. No offence to the Premiership, but it's
no.
This is somebody who has coached in Super Rugby. This is somebody who's coached international rugby in the Japanese High League. Yes. He's done it all. Knows Welsh rugby, having been at Swansea for a number of years. It's a really good appointment. And Moana Pacifica, who he's been on the coaching side at, are a formidable side. If you compare them to the Drua, who look a bit lightweight, Pacifica do not. They're well organised, they're well structured, they're really aggressive around the fringes of rucks. Be interesting to see if that's the defensive style he's going to bring.
Yeah.
It's very structured defence.
Yeah, he's got a wealth of experience at club and international level, so it's not like we're taking a punt on the guy here. This is a guy with really good credentials and a good CV. See, I think there's more to this. So I don't think he's just coming here to coach defence. Yes, he will be responsible for that. That's his remit. But I think TOT is going to call, I don't want to say all the shots, but I think he's going to have a big say and a big influence in what happens at the Dragons, because Dave Flanagan has spoken about having him to lean on, that bit of experience.
Yeah.
Because he has been a head coach as well. And I don't know about you, Gav, but I would not want to be the players in Estramanic on a Monday morning if the defensive performance has been slacking If you're that guy making half-hearted tackles and feel Tia is not happy with you, you can look out, can't you? Because that's a guy you really don't want to piss off.
Yeah, can you imagine you come off half time, it's been a bit lackluster. It's not going to be a polite chat, is it? There's going to be a lot of banging of lockers and
Oh, yes.
maybe that's what they need. It's because he's going to bring structure and quality to the coaching, but also they need to rock it up their arse sometimes, and I don't think Dye really gives that.
No, and that's the problem. A lot of supporters say that he's too nice. The guy's a nice guy, and who's really, laying down the law to the players after a poor performance. But I think what Tia will do, he'll gain respect from the players. I think they'll respect him. And there's been a lot of talk about culture. About the culture at the Dragons, and feel Tia will come in and change the culture. I mean, I've got my hopes up for this appointment. I think it could be really, really transformational for us. I'm not going to say we're going to turn into world beaters overnight, but I think Tia is the kind of guy who can come in, gain respect, get the players fighting for him, and try and turn around our mentality and culture.
What I'm hearing, Jamie, is Champions Cup in 2 years.
Oh, gosh. I know. I'm not even going to make any predictions now, but you know what I mean. I do think I would like to see it turn out,
I am confident, he says, touching wherever this is not what, I am confident that we will perform better next season than we have this season.
Yes, I am as well. I'm already looking forward to next season now. In a way, these 2 games, of course I want to win them. But now I just think, well, if we don't, even if we do finish bottom of the URC, I'm not that bothered really, because what does it mean? There's no relegation, there's no real consequences. Yeah, okay, we finished last. We've had a bad year. We just look forward. The only way is up, isn't it? So I'm really looking forward to next year. There's so many positive changes happening at the moment at the club. And yes, we have been here before. We've had so many false starts in the past, but I don't know. I just feel that we're making the right moves. It feels like there's a plan and a proper strategy in place to turn this around. And we got good people in charge this time, Gavin.
We have.
Yeah.
And they've thought about what they're doing. I think last summer when we were first doing the pod, it was a bit like, I'm not really sure what the purpose is of some of the recruitment. But now you can really see what the purpose is.
Yeah, and also don't forget we was in limbo with the takeover, wasn't we?
Yeah.
We didn't have a defence coach. I was never happy. Well, we wasn't happy with the coaching setup, was we?
No.
We had concerns about it, but we can have a proper coaching setup now, and roll on next season. I'm already looking forward to it. I think it's a very good appointment. And speaking of very good appointments, here's another one for you, Gav. The Dragons have appointed a key member of Gatland's backroom team as their new head of performance. So Dr. Ryan Chambers is currently head of sports science for the WRU. He's been employed by them for the past 15 years, but he's going to join the Dragons this summer. And he's going to be replacing Dan Barrow, of course, who's leaving the Dragons to link up with the Georgia national team. So we've got a key guy from Warren Gatland's backroom team. This is a guy that's been part of a backroom team that's won Grand Slams and been in World Cup semi-finals. So that's another big coup, isn't it, for this club to get someone of his stature and intelligence, I guess.
Is there a strength and conditioning role? I was trying to work, because I read the report in the Argus, and I was trying to work out what exactly his role is.
Well, it says head in performance, so I'm guessing it will be sort of strength conditioning, nutritional advice, that sort of thing. Statistician, statistics and all that. I think this is a data-driven, performance role. I think it's that, but that's good. That's good. Like I said, this is a guy who's been with the WRU for 15 years. Like, he's got amazing experience. So it's just good to have someone with that knowledge and IP joining you, isn't it? So another positive appointment. In other news, then, 20-year-old Pontypool and Dragons hooker Sam Scarf has gone on loan to Gloucester until the end of the season. So he's now the 4th player to feature for Gloucester this season, after Josh Reynolds, Shea Hope and Lewis Jones played for Gloucester, but they played in friendly fixtures. So Sam made his Cherry Whites debut last weekend. He came off the bench, 41st minute, so we got a fair bit of game time. Unfortunately, he was part of the Gloucester team that lost 90-0 to Northampton Saints. Oh, poor Sam. I mean, that scoreline is shocking. And look, I know it was
It was men
third
versus
string.
boys.
I know it was third string. There's a lot of kids now, but that shouldn't happen in a professional game. That should not happen in a Gallagher Premiership, that scoreline. I'm sorry. That is pretty disgraceful by Gloucester, isn't it?
No, the Gloucester coaches need to have a look at themselves, because I don't know if you watched it. I watched highlights. It was men versus boys, and they all looked up to their depth. Sam looked a bit out of his depth, as you would expect, because he's up against a side to go to the semi-finals of Europe.
Yeah.
And, it was a bunch of kids, essentially.
Yeah, but Sam is one for the future, and I think
this
would be a good experience. I mean, that's not the experience he would have wanted, being part of that team that got battered 90-0, but it is part of it, of learning and growing, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I tell you what, Mike, Gloucester are going to look very daft if they don't win the Challenge Cup, because they're resting all these players. If they win the cup, fine, it's paid off. I mean, there's a bit of humiliation involved, but they could say, well, we won the European Cup. But if they don't, then George Skivington's going to look like a bit of a wally, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on thin ice, George Skivington, I think.
I tell you what will be interesting. They're playing Newcastle on the weekend, and Newcastle haven't won a game all season. So that'll be interesting to see what team they put out and whether Newcastle can finally get their first win. We think it's been tough for the Dragons, which it have, but spare a thought for Paul and Newcastle, who haven't won a single game.
Yeah, but same thing. They know they can't get relegated. No relegation this season, is there?
No, that's true. Okay, let's talk about the leavers list then. So Dragons, like a lot of clubs now, it's that time of the year, we have announced our leavers list. The following players will be leaving the club in the summer. So Aki Salui, Sean Lonsdale, Theo Tonkinson, Gonzalo Bertrand, who's currently on loan at Cardiff, Max Clark, who is currently on loan at Cardiff, Lewis Jones, Corey Baldwin, who's now left the Dragons. They released him early from his contract, so he's playing Shoot Shield Rugby in Australia. Nathan Evans, who's featured quite a lot for Newport RFC this season, and Jack Dixon, who of course retired recently to pursue a career outside the sport. So those are the leavers. Now, there's 3 names on there that didn't feature, and they were Dan Lydiate, Leon Brown, and Bradley Roberts. Now, we expect Bradley Roberts, with that signing of Ollie Burrows, to move on. Now, hasn't been confirmed, but that's what we expect to happen. So when you look at that list, Gav, what do you make of it? Are there any names in there that stand out to you? Did you think, I wish we could have kept hold of him? Were there any major disappointments for you?
No.
None
they
at
were all players
no?
I said to you that I saw going, and I wasn't that worried about Aki. Hasn't really done a great deal. He hasn't brought a lot. Sean Lonsdale is fine, but we've upgraded on Sean Lonsdale. Theo Tompkinson, again, decent player, but not really Sean.
Injuries, Clark, I think, it's been a big problem with Theo. I like Theo, and I think if there was room in the budget to keep him, we would have. But I think that's a budget call.
Yeah.
I think that's a budget call because he wouldn't have come cheap. But unfortunately, we haven't seen the best of him. He's been
and Max Clark as well. I kind of promised a bit, delivered very little.
Speaking of Max Clark, did you watch the Lions Cardiff game on Saturday?
No, I did not watch that. I watched hundreds of bits of rugby on the weekend, but not that game.
So Max Clark came off the bench for Cardiff in the 73rd minute. So Lions had just scored a try. They bring Max Clark on. Firstly, he's got a new look. So he's cut off his long locks and he's dyed it bleach blonde. So he now looks like early 2000s Eminem. Right? That's the first thing. Second thing, within seconds of being on the field, he got absolutely flattened by 40-year-old William Alberts. He bounced off it.
Was that the same game that Gonzalo got his face smashed in as well?
Yeah, so Gonzo went off early. Cardiff put an official complaint, but literally Max Clark come on the field, his first call of action, and Alberts just ran through him, was it like he wasn't there? And I watched it and I thought, yeah, that's why we let him go to Cardiff.
I just, when he came from Bath, I'm thinking, yeah, he's a good player. He's big, he's strong, but he offers absolutely nothing.
He's not physical enough, I don't think.
No. And, Corey Baldwin, I think Corey Baldwin has probably hit his right level there, essentially playing third tier rugby in Australia.
Yeah, I don't think when you look at that list, I mean, I know you're not as big a fan of him as I am, but I did like Sean Lonsdale. I thought he worked hard. I thought he was a grafter. Didn't set the world alight, but
But
he's reliable.
we've got loads of players like that. We've got George,
We got Shane Lewis Hughes coming in.
yeah, who's an upgrade, and we got, George Knott does that role, Screech does that role. It's I don't know what he brought to it, and Di playing him in the back, he is not a back row. He was always better at second row. There's no dynamism. There's no ball carrying. He will end up playing in the RFU Championship, I imagine, and that's his level.
Well, maybe we'll see. I think he would be a decent pickup for one of the other regions, but with budget so tight, I don't really know where he's going to go, I guess. But like you said, the English Championship seems a pretty good place. I mean, you can imagine us somewhere like Ealing, can't you?
Nottingham.
Ealing Trailfinders, Nottingham.
Yeah.
Bedford, maybe. I don't know. But
I mean, I do wish... Maybe Paul Turner will take him down to Amtil.
Yeah, Amtil, of course. I do wish All Out Park plays the very best. However, good luck to him.
Of course, yeah.
Bertrand, who might get signed permanently by Cardiff. They seem to like him down there. Apparently, Max Clark is doing okay at Cardiff. That's fine. They can have him. That's okay. We got a lot of depth in the centre now.
Yeah.
We got young guys like Joe Westwood, Harry Ackerman coming through. Then we got an Ivan Owen and Steph Hughes, and of course Harry Wilson, our new signing. So Max Clark won't get anywhere near our team.
Oh no, he wouldn't get. I don't think CEO would either. I think Dye's favourite, Harry Ackerman anyway, and Chris Hollis can play in the centre as well. But
he seems to be making the 23 at Cardiff. So good luck to him. All the best to them. Okay, let's move on then to Gav's Gwent Rugby Roundup. And there was a Premiership final, wasn't there?
There was, and sadly, the title did not come back to Gwent.
No.
It went over the locker with Llandovery. To be fair, it was a close game, 14-7 win for Llandovery. Llandovery have been the best team in the league all year. Newport ended the season well, but Llandovery have been consistently the strongest side. Lost to Newport once, but ultimately they did what they needed to do. That's their second title.
But to be fair to Newport, though, I will give them a lot of credit. They have had a fantastic season, and Ty Morris has done a really good job. What he's done there is he's combined experienced players along with the young talent we have at the Dragons. We've seen guys like Shea Hope and Joe Westwood really kick on there. David Richards has done well. And you got guys like Elliot Fruin, Lewis Lloyd, Matt O'Brien, of course, Dragons backs coach. And before that final, they had won 15 games in a row since they lost to Llandovery. I mean, that was incredible run they went on. So I think Ty Morris is meant to give a lot of credit.
Well, I was going to say Ty Morris has just done the sensible thing. He's got all this young talent, but instead of just saying, well, we'll rely on that, he's got like Reinhard in and a couple of old heads who are going to do what's needed to be done and give the space and the time to the younger guys.
How good has Reinhard been for him as well?
Yeah.
He's been so good for Newport.
I don't know if you saw the picture. Don't know if you saw the picture of him after the game, and he just stood on the pitch in his socks drinking a beer, and he thought, "Yeah, that's what rugby's about."
He posted a lovely picture as well on Twitter of him and Adam Warren.
Yes, yeah, that was a picture,
which was really nice.
Him and Adam Warren having a beer together.
Yeah, two Dragons greats there. I miss Adam Warren. He's a very good player for us, very reliable. But commiserations to Newport. It's been a great season. I mean, let's be honest, Llandovery and Newport were by far and away the best teams in the Premiership. No one else came close to them.
No.
But congratulations to Llandovery on the back-to-back title wins for them.
But there was a number of other games, and the last, Llandovery's last game in the Premiership and Newport's last game in the Premiership before moving into the EDC next year. Alongside Ebervale and Pontypool, so lots of Gwent involvement in the EDC. But Below the Premiership, there were a number of games. So in the Championship, Bedwas played Treorchy and won 31-22 at home. Division 1, Pontypool United beat Bedlinog 19 points to 7, and Talawain beat Sengened 17 points to 12. In Division 2, Oakdale lost a thrilling game against Ableri Blaenau Gwent 24-26 at home. Ableri Blaenau Gwent unbeaten all season. In Division 3, a less thrilling game, I would imagine. Abertwsog lost to Blaenau 5 points to 9.
Well, for the purists, that sounds, doesn't it?
Yeah. I've said this before, and I'll say again, Abertwsog is not a nice place to play rugby. I can't imagine that was a nice day for anybody.
No.
Yeah, lovely club, Abertwsog, very welcoming, but not a nice place to play. In the Division 4, Betos beat Havadaranis 62 points to 14. Blackwood Stars lost 12 points to 71 at home against Gwynafed. Couple of games, scores suggesting teams have given up for the season a little bit. New Panteg beat Bedwellty 52 points to 17, and Whitehead lost 23-34 at home to Crumlin. And then end of the season scores in Division 5 and 6. Division 5, Westmont losing 7 points to 69 at home against Forgeside. It's been a tough season for Westmont anyway. They've shipped a lot of points all season, so ending as they've done most of the season. And in Division 6, Trinant lost 61 points to 9 at home to Derry.
Great stuff. Is that it?
It is.
Roundup?
That is
excellent
what
stuff.
We have from the Welsh regions and leagues. The one thing I would say, when you're looking at some of those bigger scores down the bottom, you do fear for the likes of clubs like Westmont and Trinant. But it would, it'd be an absolute body blow to those communities. So hopefully they can keep the players happy and keep the players playing.
Yeah. I just want to add as well, we were going to have somebody from Nutradiga RFC join us this week, but they're having a couple of big meetings and they've postponed their appearance on the pod. They want to have these meetings first and then they'll give us more information about their rebuild because they're going through a big rebuild, as you know. So we will get somebody from Nutradiga RFC at some point to come on. And like you said, have more community clubs. We will try and do that, I think.
We'll reach out.
Onwards.
We'll reach out to community clubs next year and hopefully have them on quite regularly. But if you're listening to this and you're part of a community club in the Gwent region, then let us know and we'd be happy to have you on. If you play in the Championship or if you play in Division 6, we are interested.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been very fortunate to have some fantastic guests on this pod. I'm surprised some of them even agreed to come on here, but they have. And fair play to those guys. But I would like more people from the community game, I think, from grassroots.
You've done a fantastic job of the guests, Jamie, and there's no doubt in that. Some of the people we've had on are really, really impressive.
It is, isn't it?
Well done with that.
Rock, Reinhard, Colin Jarvis, I'm still, David Buttress. Yeah, we've had some brilliant guests on, and thank you to all those people who've appeared, and the supporters as well. Tom Coleman from, Leinster Support, and Rhiannon Lowe, Lions. It's been really good. Okay, let's have a look at Friday night. Well, look back at Friday night, I should say. We played the Stormers, a fully loaded Stormers, packed with Springbok players. And we were a little bit fearful about this, weren't we? So the score finished, Dragons 21, Stormers 44. However, that doesn't tell the full story, does it, Gav? Because Stormers head coach John Dobson, who I've got a lot of time and respect for, I really like John Dobson, he said, and I quote, "The final scoreline was probably one of the most unfair ones I've seen in rugby." He's right, Gav, isn't he? That scoreline does not reflect our efforts. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I think for 60 minutes, we were really, really good. I think there were 2 10-minute periods that done for us. The first was the first 10 minutes when about the first 15 really, we dominated territory and possession, did score, but probably should have scored more. And then the last 10 minutes, when it all went to hell in a handcart, really. But the defining moment of the game for me, I think it was about 20 minutes in, and we had controlled the game, absolutely controlled the game. And Chris Hollis got stripped in a tackle, and then Stormers have kicked and scored, and it was their first attack. And I think that was the difference between the two teams. There was a sharp edge to Stormers that we didn't have.
Yeah, that first half, though, I thought we were very, very good. We had 72%. We had 72% possession and 77% territory. That was the Dragons the first half. Those were the stats. And yet we only had 1 point to show for our dominance because Will Reed made an error. He failed to collect an aerial bomb. That leads to Stormer's try. It was a great cross kick from Warwick Galante, winger. Fair play. It was well executed.
Yeah.
But other than that try, the Stormers didn't fire a shot. We was well on top. I thought we were fantastic. But then, like I said, you go into the sheds at half time, you're thinking, we're only a point behind where we should have had a bigger lead. How are the Stormers going to come out now second half, and can we keep it up? And the second half was a different story. I mean, it's worth pointing out, in the last quarter, the Dragons were still winning. We were 21-16 ahead inside our final quarter. And even in the 72nd minute, Dragons were only 2 points behind.
Yeah, it was 20, wasn't it 23-20 with 9 minutes to go?
It was something like that, yeah. So we were well in the game. But that last 10 minutes absolutely killed us. And it started with the unfortunate sin binning of Rodrigo Martinez, who I have to say I was disappointed with because, look, I like Martinez, and when he's on it, and he is a decent scrummager, but he came off for Rodri, who had a very good game, really solid at scrum time. Don't forget, man, he was coming up against France Malmö.
Yeah.
Won a World Cup. He's done well, Rodri Jones. He has. Martinez comes on, and he just gives away penalty after penalty after penalty. And Chris Busby, the referee, was warning him. I was like, something's going to happen here. He sent him off in the 71st minute, I think it was.
Malherbe put him under so much pressure. Rodri Jones was dealing with the pressure, and Malherbe just, it was interesting just to watch the scrummage. And Rodri Jones had kind of controlled Malherbe, and all he's done to Martin is just short his bind and pull him in, and every single time he's just popping out or popping sideways.
Yeah, so that means then we're down to 14 men for the rest of the game. So we're a man down, which doesn't help.
No.
Springboks, coming onto the field, they've got a strong bench. The Stormers, really good depth. I have to say, friend of the pod and Dragons legend Brock Harris was pretty good, didn't he? He made a big difference to this scrum when he came on. No surprise. So, yeah, we have to deal with that. And then Angus O'Brien comes onto the field, picks up another injury. He's just had a wretched season for injuries. He's had no luck at all. So he limped off. And that meant that we had to reshuffle our backline. So we ended up with Steph Hughes at fly half. We had Theo Thompson moving into the centre midfield. And then we had Dane Blacker at scrum half, switching out to the wing. And then we had Morgan Lloyd, the Pontypool scrum half, coming on for his debut. So we got completely disjointed backline. No cohesion here at all. And then playing with 14 men, they score 3 tries in the last 8 minutes. And all of a sudden, you're left with a lopsided scoreline that really doesn't reflect how the Dragons played. And it was cruel, it was unfair. And I felt we deserved something out of it. But that's pro sport, I guess, Gavin. The Stormers really did show their class in those last 7-8 minutes, didn't they?
It's the difference between top teams and not top teams, isn't it? They took every chance that was given to them. They put us under pressure when they needed to. We didn't take the chances. And it's the difference between hopefully where we are now and where we are next season. The bench wasn't really strong enough. So when we made changes, we just got weaker.
And that's happened a few times this season. Even when I've looked at our team sheet and I've looked at the bench, I think, that's a decent bench. Certain players, and I won't name them, they haven't made an impact when they come on. And that's disappointing. And rugby is a 23-man game. We need everyone to pull their weight and chip in and make an impact on the field. You can't just rely on your first 15, and the best teams have that depth, don't they? And they have a bench, finishers, wherever you want to call them. I know it's cringy to finishers, but you need those guys to come on and make an impact. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But let's take the positives, Gav. Dragons went toe to toe. We were never going to win this. It was always going to be a tough game. But we went toe to toe with, one of the best teams in the URC who were loaded with Springbok players. But, it was only the last 10 minutes where it really did go to shit. But other than that, it was a good effort.
It wasn't a bad performance. Yeah, it wasn't.
We questioned the effort, haven't we, over certain Dragons games. And this was a game where you go, same with Connacht, mind. We looked at it and we said, that was a good effort.
Yeah, the effort was there. Same mistakes killing us, but hopefully next season they'll disappear a little bit. I'm hoping that we can be, if we get another 10 in, I'm hoping there's someone experienced so we can give Will Reid a bit of a break. Because I don't think this season's been great for him. I don't not rate him. I just think he's young, he's still learning his game, and errors will haunt him if he doesn't get a chance to just chill out.
Yeah, I think with Reid, look, he's had a shoulder, burden of, on his shoulders because Kai Evans has been injured. Angus has been out for a lot this season. He's played a lot of rugby, and he's a young 10. He's learning his craft, but he does make a lot of errors, and that's kind of the problem. And I do feel for him, he does need a rest. And unfortunately for this weekend, he's our only fit and available fly half, which means we're going to need him to do probably another 80-minute performance because he's our only fit and available fly half. So it's been difficult, and he is a talented player. This is a guy who's been name-checked by Warren Gatland, don't forget. So the Welsh management are keeping tabs on him, but it has been tough. We are right. We do need an experienced 10, and Di Flanagan has talked about that this week. So we'll see what he comes up with there. But, in terms of positives in individual efforts, Aaron Wainwright, he's so fucking good, isn't he? Aaron Wainwright was doing Aaron Wainwright things again. He is so good. He's got to be our player of the season, hasn't he?
He certainly, I think him, I think Rodri Jones probably deserves a bit of credit. But I'm going to say my player of the season right now, we might want to do this more formally. As for me, it's been Jared Rosser, who's just always, he's given 100%. There's been a couple of opportunities where perhaps he should have done better. The Edinburgh game, but I think Jared Ross has had a strong season. But Aaron Wainwright is a class above. I'm not comparing him to Jared Ross. He's a much better player than Jared, and looked great against Stormers.
Yeah, and I thought Harry Keddy worked his socks off as he always does. He scored a try. I thought he worked really hard in the back row. Rodri Jones, who I already mentioned, I thought he was really solid at scrum time. Like I said, up against Frans Malherbe. The scrum did disintegrate when he come off, unfortunately. Dane Blacker, let's be honest, he hasn't set the world alight since he's moved to Scarlets. He hasn't been bad by any means, but I don't think he's, been brilliant either. But,
he's fine.
Against Connacht, perfectly fine, we like to say on this podcast. He's been perfectly fine. He was good against Connacht, and he was good again against the Stormers. So, the more game time he's having, the more confidence he's building, he's getting better. So I don't know what the status is with our scrum halves. I don't know if Rodri's going to be fit. Rodri Williams, that is, going to be fit for the Ospreys game. But if Dane Blacker starts, I'm fine with that. On Saturday, because I think he's getting much better, and he will get more game time, especially with Bertrand leaving the club. But it's positives to take out of it. We come away with nothing. We didn't get any reward. We did get a bonus point against Connacht, and it is similarities there. Ben Carter gets sent off with the game in the balance, we lose. Rodrigo Martinez gets sent off with the game in the balance, we lose. So there's discipline issues there, there's mentality, game management, and then there's some compounded errors. But there were enough positives in this game to be optimistic, wasn't
it? Yeah, I think with props, sometimes it needs to be a bit more like grassroots rugby. If your starting prop is great and your replacement prop isn't great, and the starting prop will be, Oh, another 10 minutes. Yeah. Another 10 minutes.
Yeah,
As you make them play a whole game.
it was a beautiful night at Newport as well, and the beer
Yeah,
was going
oh,
down
it
really
was.
nice. Too good
I
for my
bet
liking, but yeah, it was going down lovely. I was drinking cider actually. That's
that's
unlike
good.
me, but it was
Good
perfect
summer
weather for
drink.
cider.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going down nice. Thatchers. And all the kids and everyone was allowed on the pitch after the game, which was a nice touch. Um, yeah, it was good atmosphere. It was a really good atmosphere. There were more Stormers fans there than I was expecting. I saw quite a few around the city centre
They'll have
before I
just
went
come up
into
on the
Ronnie
train from
Parade.
London, won't they?
Oh God, yeah, they're probably from bloody London, Bristol. They're,
Yeah.
they're expats, and they. But
Yeah.
it was still nice to have that away contingent because they do add to the atmosphere. So yeah, it was a good night. Just a shame about the result, but
So
yeah,
I'm
positives.
going to the Wales South Africa game on June 20, wherever it is, 26.
Yeah,
And I imagine that will just be South Africans largely
yeah,
in
probably.
Twickenham.
But yeah, there we go then. That was Friday night. Now let's look ahead to this weekend. Welsh derby action. We are away to the Ospreys. Swansea.com Stadium. Kick-off 3 o'clock on Saturday. The referee is Ben Breakspear, who is making only his second league game. So this is just his second game in charge in the URC. So yeah, I'm interested to see how he interprets this one. The game is live on Premier Sports only, so it's not on free to air, but S4C are showing a full match replay on Saturday night at 10:05. So if you haven't got Premier Sports, you can watch the game in full on Saturday night on S4C. So Dragons' last win against the Ospreys in Swansea was when, Gav? You know I like to play this game with you. I've put this on social media. You should know this now.
Yeah, no, you put on social media. Oh, it's a long time ago. 22. It was 2012 because it was a young Falata, wasn't it?
It was 2010, October
Yeah.
31st, 2010. The Dragons won 16-21. A young Talupe Falato, I think he was 19 at the time, was player of the match. And a certain Mr. Dave Flanagan was Osprey's fly half. That's how long it's been. Dave Flanagan was Osprey's fly half the last time that the Dragons won.
And Talupe was 19. Well, he would have been Toby in those days.
He was Toby, yeah, that's right. And he had the Phil Lynott here as well, you know. But yeah, classic Talupe Falato. So Dragons have not won away from home in the championship since beating Scarlets in Llanelli. That was back in April 2022. But the good news is we have won 3 out of our last 5 fixtures against fellow Welsh regions. As for the Ospreys then, so they're 11th in the URC table, and they do have an outside chance of making the top 8. But they need bonus points wins against us and Cardiff at Judgment Day and hope other results go their way. So they are still in the mix. It's a long shot, but they've got plenty to play for. And they've had 2 very tough results against Bulls and Leinster. They've conceded over 120 points, and this is their last home game. So they're going to be really desperate to put on a good show for their home supporters and keep themselves in the playoff mix. So, Gav, Dave Flanagan has spoken this week about going down to Swansea with nothing to lose and upsetting the Ospreys' playoff plans. How do you feel about this one? Can the Dragons put a spanner in the works?
Yes. Yes. Do I think they will? No. But
yeah, that
can.
Didn't sound convincing at all, Gav. Yes.
Oh, of course they can. Yes, they can beat Ospreys. Are they going to? I don't know. Ospreys, I'm not on the Ospreys are good bandwagon. Ospreys are fine, perfectly fine. They're the best Welsh team, but
they definitely are.
Yeah,
they definitely are the best Welsh team. See, the thing is, I like Ospreys, right? They are kind of my second team because you get a lot of people say, "Oh, I like the Dragons; they're my second favorite team." You hear that quite a lot, don't you? Well, I would say Ospreys are mine, and I really like and admire Toby Booth. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a brilliant coach, and I think the Ospreys have had a very good season.
he irritates me.
Why?
It's like,
What's he irritating you?
He's like Ted Lasso. It's
Oh,
just
it's the
full.
find a way stuff, is it? He likes
Yeah,
coming
oh,
out with find a way to win. Well, it
yeah,
works for them, though, doesn't it? Because
it
they have
does.
found a way to win games, and they've been very good. They've had great wins over Ulster, Stormers away. Um,
They
I
do.
like the Ospreys. I think they've done a really good job of being competitive this season. I think they should hold their heads up high, whether they make the top eight or not. I personally don't think they will, but I think they've had a very good season when you consider the circumstances that
Oh
Welsh
yeah.
rugby is in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just a thing with me not liking his style, Toby, but he's done a very good job at that club, and he is, there are good players there. And my issue with Ospreys, it's a bit like Manchester United in football. Manchester United haven't been good for a decade. Ospreys haven't been good for a decade. But their fan base is, well, why would you do this? Why isn't X in the team? Why isn't B in the team, a Wales team? Yeah, I just find that kind of big club mentality a bit
what
irritating
I've
for me.
noticed is when they do well, they do seem to get a lot of bandwagon jumpers, don't they, the Ospreys? And then when they're
Yeah,
not doing so well, you don't really see
yeah.
it. But
And they've
like I
upset
said, I
Neath
like
as
the
well.
Ospreys.
They've upset Neath.
Oh, Neath are upsetting themselves. They are absolutely bonkers. As I said on X, right? Neath, a perfect example of why it was a terrible idea to let amateurs run the pro game in Wales.
Oh yeah.
Those statements alone, they just shows they are not fit. Amateur clubs and community clubs should not be having a say on the running of pro game in Wales.
But I am really just enjoying how bonkers they've gone. Did you see the thing they put on X with the Ospreys badge with a big red cross?
That's what made me laugh. That was the thing that tickled me. The big red cross through the logo. They will not be playing. The Ospreys will not be playing at the no, and at the end, it really is all happening at the FRC. It's like, oh dear
Yeah,
me, good
yeah,
PR, mind. They've
yeah.
had brilliant PR, haven't they?
Ospreys won't be at the club, but there are a range of tribute bands, so come along to that. No, you're all right,
I
thanks,
think it's a
lads.
bit laughable. It's a bit laughable, all
Oh
that, isn't it? It's a
yeah,
bit embarrassing. I think it's really embarrassing. I do
it's
that whole
hugely
episode.
embarrassing, I think.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So Dragons are going down to Swansea with nothing to lose. What I don't like those people saying, "Oh, the Dragons have nothing to play for." Well, we do because we don't want to finish bottom of the URC.
no,
Don't
uh,
forget, mind, we are trying to overtake the Scarlets. We are trying not to be the
yeah.
worst Welsh team again. So we do have something to play for. But also, as well, apparently, I mean, I think it's a very long shot, an outside chance, but we are still in contention for the Welsh Shield, I've been told. But that's what Harley said on the Rap podcast anyway. So I don't see it myself, obviously, but there is something to play for the Dragons. It's in total dead rubber.
We've lost a card. I suppose technically we could do, but it'd be relying on other teams doing quite poorly. Because the
Mm,
Welsh Shield is just in the games between the Welsh teams, isn't it?
yeah,
So
yeah, it
we've
is.
played 4. We've beaten Scarlets. We lost to Cardiff twice.
I don't know how it works. I haven't really paid attention to the Welsh Shield, I gotta be honest. I mean, I would love Dragons to win it just to say they've won something, but it's not something I've paid any attention to, this Welsh Shield
But
stuff.
the Welsh Shield gives you a European Champions Cup place, doesn't it?
No, I don't anymore.
Or does it not?
No, I don't know. You only get European place now if you finish in the top 8.
Oh,
You
okay.
just get the hubcap with stickers on
Okay.
if you win the Welsh Shield, which is what it is, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
Yeah, they changed this so it's top 8 now that gets a place in the Champions Cup.
Which is right.
Yes, it's meritocracy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's how it should be, really. Some good news for the Dragons then going into this game. Ben Carter is back from suspension because he missed that crucial Newport RFC game, didn't he? The one he was definitely
Yes.
was going to play
Oh
in.
yeah. First name on the list.
Of course, he was always going to play for Black and Ambers.
Yeah.
He's back from suspension, so we'll have Ben Carter back, which is great. I'm a big fan of Ben Carter. One of those players who's always undervalued and underappreciated by people from outside Dragons. But I like him. I got a lot of time for Ben Carter.
Yeah.
And we've got Wales under-20s captain Ryan Woodman, who's back from injury. So he's going to be involved in this. And that'll be great to see him back because he was having a really good season, wasn't he? Like every time he put on the Dragon shirt, he was impressive. And then he picked up that thumb injury, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he was probably our best kind of the young players coming through. and was looking made for it for me. And then, yeah, picked up that quite horrible thumb injury, didn't he?
He did. So it's great to see him back. Just to say as well, the Dragon Supporters Club, they have got space left on the bus for some. So they don't have any ticket packages left. That's sold out. But they've told me that they've got 6 seats left on the coach, and it's £15. So it's £15 from Newport to Swansea, there and back. So if anyone has got tickets and you're looking for travel, you can contact the Dragon Supporters Club, get in touch with them through their socials and their website. There's 6 seats left available, coach only, no ticket, £15 there and back. I'm going down with the Supporters Club. I got my ticket, me and Dad are going, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't actually mind the Swansea.com. It's not suitable for rugby anymore.
No.
You know, it's far too big for regional rugby. I think back in the day when they had the Galacticos, it was fine. But in this day and age, where Welsh rugby is now, it's clearly too big for them, and they really do need to move, which they are. And the word is they'll go to St Helens, which I think is the right decision. Narrow Bridgend, but they really should stay in Swansea, I think, personally. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So let's get a prediction then, Gav. What are you saying? So my prediction on the Wrap podcast was I said Ospreys by 14. I just feel that Ospreys are going to give this everything. They know they have to win. They have to win with a bonus point. They're going to have Darryl Lake available. They're going to have Jack Morgan available. So I think they're going to win by a couple of scores. What do you think? Are you more optimistic than I am?
No. Ospreys by 10 is what I had written down earlier, and I'll stand by that.
The one thing I will say about the Ospreys, mind, they do look tired. I think they've put so much. They've had such a good season, but I do think they're starting to, in my opinion, because I do watch all the games, the regions, they do look to be running out of steam a little bit. So maybe there is an opportunity, and the pressure of knowing they have to win and have to win for bonus point, that could backfire. Because they start doing daft things and things they wouldn't normally do. But yeah, so I've gone for 14 points. I just hope we're competitive. And what we need to do is make sure that we are strong at set piece, in particular scrum, because we know we're going to get targeted there. But when you look at that game against the Ospreys and Rodney Parade, we were pretty rock solid in the scrum. And that's the thing. We know we can beat the Ospreys because we have done. We keep doing it at Rodney Parade, but what we can't do is do it in Swansea. So if we can beat them in Newport, we need to do it on the road as well, don't we? But it's going to be tight. We need to be error-free. We need to keep our discipline. I was reminded of the last time we went to Swansea, the Dragons, when remember Dai Flanagan said to the players, target the fly-off Jack Watch, which was the right thing to say because he's flaky and he makes mistakes. They identified him as a weak link. The players interpreted as trying to take his head off and led to Theo Tompkinson's red card. We don't want any of that nonsense going on, do we, Gav? We don't want any red cards. Ill discipline, which has plagued the Dragons. Red card, yellow card.
It has impacted us, hasn't it?
So, yeah, that is a Welsh derby to look forward to. And then we'll have Judgment Day. We'll have Judgment Day in Cardiff, which you are going to, I believe.
I have bought tickets for Judgment Day, yes.
I haven't got mine yet, but I am definitely going to go because I don't see it selling out. And I'll probably get it soon. But yeah, pod meetup.
Fitted in with me trying to sell my mother's house. So, it's...
Oh, there we are. Then kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But we will have to do a pod meetup, won't we?
Indeed.
Yeah.
A live react after the game.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, good luck to the Dragons on Saturday. And yeah, let's hope we're competitive. The narrative is that we're just going to roll over and let Ospreys get a bonus point winner. I don't want that to happen. I do want us to put a spanner in the works. As much as I like the Ospreys, I also want to beat them as well. And I do want to upset their playoff plans if possible. But yeah, good luck to the Dragons. If you are going to the game, any Dragons fans traveling down, make it a short trip, have a safe journey and enjoy the day. Gav, thank you to you as always for joining me. And thank you to our listeners. Please subscribe to the pod if you haven't done already. Spread the word and the love for your Dragons mates. And we'll be back very soon. So until then, take care and goodbye.
Bye all.